Welcome back to Just 2 Minutes, Just a Mishnah. This Mishnah is the Nishmas, Freda Lebasrachan, the Schus of Yitzchak ben Gila, and the Frost of Basuva, and the Nishmas, Israel Yitzchak ben Yeshai Leib. So Mesachas Bava metziah, Perak Beis, Mishnah Vav, and Mishnah Zayin. V'an Masachav L'Hachris. So how long do you have to wait for someone to come and claim the lost object? How long do you have to wait until you can take it? Ad Kadesh Yedu by Shchenav, Divra Mer, until all of your neighbors, meaning all of the people who live in the area where you found the object, until they all know. That's when you have to. Sorry, it doesn't mean you can keep it off this, but it just means you have to go and call out, I found the lost object. But after that, you're still not allowed to keep it. Just you don't have to keep on like shouting out that you found something. So this is according to Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says you have to wait until all three Yom Tovim, Pesach, Sukkot, and Shavuos have passed, and then you're allowed, and then you don't have to carry on shouting about it. But then you have to wait for an extra week after the last Yom Tov, so that because in those 3 times people come to Yerushalayim. So talking about a case we found in Yerushalayim, so maybe someone dropped it when they came. So you have to wait a week after the Yom Tov, after the last Yom Tov, so that the guy has enough to say if someone hears that there's an object which has been lost, so he'll go home. It takes him 3 days to get home. Then he has a day to check if he found it. And then he has 3 days, and then he has 3 days to get back, and then he has a day to claim his lost object if he found out that he was missing something. Mishnah Zayin Amar Salveda V'lo Amar Simonel. If someone says, so someone is standing, there was a big stone where you would stand in Yerushalayim where you would shout out if you'd found a lost object. So someone's standing on there shouting he found a lost object, and someone says, "Oh, I lost my wallet," and he says, "Yes, it's a wallet," but he can't tell him any real identifying signs except for the fact that he knows what the lost object is. Lo yitin, so it's not enough. And for someone who's a known liar, even if he gives specific details about it and signs that would prove that it's his, you don't give it to him until he brings witnesses that belongs to him. Because it says in the pasuk until he proves it, basically. That meaning that if he's a liar, so then he has to really prove. You have to like investigate basically and bring witnesses. But if not, then if he's not a liar, so then you don't have to. If anything which eats and produces, so let's say a cow which produces milk but it also has to eat a lot, so then you should give it food, but then you can keep, let's say, you can keep the milk. But something which it only eats but it doesn't really give you anything. So then you can sell it, because otherwise this guy's going to have to pay you for all of the work which you put into this animal, and then he's going to end up basically having to pay you the amount that it's worth him. So it's not worth it for him. So with a cow you have to feed it, let's say, I think it's up to 12 months, whereas here you only have to look after it for 30 days, and then you sell it and keep the money for him. So then what happens if you sell it? What are you allowed to use this money? Rabbi Tarfon says you're allowed to use the money, but then if you lose the money, so it's your fault, you have to bring new money. Rabbi Kiva says you shouldn't use it, so then if it gets lost, it's not your problem. And those days Mishnayos.